Well, it's Thursday. One more day, be Friday. Yay, then it's the weekend. Well, this is kind of comical. My wife, like I said in my other video, was freaking out because it's been about a week or so. She hasn't got no stimulus check and everything else, so she called the CPA we have and basically was just asking her some questions and stuff. And she was like, you know, we haven't received anything, and you know, can you explain some of the information about how to get it? Well, she said, well, depending on how we filed taxes last year has a lot to do with it. And how we filed our return, basically she stated that we have to file a amendment when we do our taxes to see if we get it back. And well, not really to see if we get it back, but in order for us to get it back, we have to file a separate amendment. We wait for Mr. Trucker. That's Rocket Trucking. I know a lot of their drivers. But yeah, and of course I had read something else online about that, where somebody had to file basically a different amendment in order to receive it, which, you know, it is what it is, no big deal, you know. Like I told my wife, it'll get here when it gets here, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, no big deal. I'm not going to stress over something that, you know, there's out of hands and out of control. So turn my heater on, some a little chilly in here. So, you know, that's it. So I guess when we file our taxes into January, we get to file an amendment to receive our stimulus package from, you know, which actually is kind of I think it's kind of shady, but you know, it is what it is. But I got up this morning, did some dishes, and I'm going back to Dollar Tree because I bought 2 packs of like Brillo pads, and I cannot find a single one. I have no idea where in the hell they went to. And my little scrub pad I use for washing dishes, like a little foam pad, a little scrubby thing on top of it. You know, it's good for like plates and glasses and silverware, stuff like that. But anything like metal-wise that has food stuck to it, you have to let that stuff sit and soak until it damn near falls off before you can clean it with one of them. And I don't like doing dishes that way, because I had food poisoning one time due to stupidity when we was out camping one night. And we didn't wash a container the way we should have. Of course, we were younger at the time. I was a lot younger. I was in my teens. And I got food poisoning from it. And so ever since then, I make sure if I wash something, it's as clean can be. And I'm like anal retentive when it comes to washing dishes. So, and plus too, you know, I was, you know, in my mid to late teens and part of my 20s, you know, like early 20s, I worked in a restaurant as a prep cook, line cook, and a dishwasher. And the people I worked for were picky as picky can be. And which, you know, when you deal with food in restaurants, you have to be in some degree. So, but yeah, I've been really, when I do dishes, I'm like really anal retentive. It's a lot of times, even when my wife does dishes, I'll go through and I'll look over a lot of things. And she's fairly decent about doing dishes. Looks like another rocket driver. Let's see who that is. Might be red. No, I'm not sure. I'll wave anyway. But she misses some things occasionally. Of course, she uses a dish rag when she does her dishes. And I mean, using a dish rag is fine and all, don't get me wrong. But I would much rather use something that I know that is gonna make sure it is clean. Yeah, I know my little turn signal, clickety. The guy in the very front has his turn signal on. The guy in the truck doesn't have one on. The person in front of me doesn't have one on, but I got mine on. And see, that's the problem. A lot of people, just because you're in a turn lane, they think you don't have to use a turn signal. Well, it's one of those force of habit things. If you don't use one now, you won't use one a lot of times later down the road. And then when you get hit in the ass end, you're like, well, I had my turn signals on. I don't know why you hit me for. That happens a lot around here. I guess I'm making that person nervous in front of me because during the whole process of sitting there at the stoplight, they kept staring at the rearview mirror at me. I guess they saw my camera on the dashboard, got kind of worried. But it's alright. They got their disabled Air Force plate. It looks like it's colder than shit outside, but it's not. It's actually, you know, it's cool. I mean, it's slightly cold, but it's not like what you would think it'd be. If I had to guess temperature-wise, it's probably about 43 outside. And, of course, a lot of y'all, like Mrs. Miller lives out in California, y'all be like, oh, it's freezing cold, but, you know, it's not too bad. Usually about this time of year, it's in the single digits or even colder. That's like she was talking about leaving California and coming to Kentucky, and something transpired or took place that she decided they were just going to stay there for a time being, and which of course I showed her some of our weather forecasts because I have her on Facebook, and yeah, it's like it was like, I don't know, I'll use it but right before Christmas or something like that, but I showed her, I copied a picture from one of our local things and put it on her page on Facebook, and she'd be like, I'd be freezing. And that's kind of comical to say because I remember my first trip to California in Los Angeles, it was probably about 94, 95, and that's 19, by the way. But it was quite comical because I came up to the side of the loading dock and there's a bunch of women outside with sweaters and scarves, and they're all bunched up together outside smoking. And I saw that and I thought, holy shit, it's freezing ass cold out there. So I jumped back in the truck and changed into my winter attire and opened the door, and I felt like a heat wave just hit me in the face. Well, I jumped back in the truck and I changed from my winter attire to t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. And one of the ladies sat there and she said, aren't you cold? I said, ma'am, I said, this place is a heat wave. I said, what are y'all here bundled up for? They're like, we think it's cold. I'm like, and I was like, ma'am, if you want to see cold, come back to Kentucky where it's in the single digits. I said, then it's cold. I said, this is, you know, this is enjoyable. And I said, hell, you could go swim in this kind of weather. And she just kind of looked at me like I was nuts, but it's true. A lot of y'all on the West Coast, especially in California, you know, of course I understand at nighttime it does get cold at night. And that's one of the things I did witness. During the daytime, it could be 65, 70 degrees during the day, but at nighttime, it's like 30, and it's cold. And I'll admit, it is cold sometimes. And it's not all California, it's just in certain areas. But I know for a fact, out in the desert area, at nighttime, yeah, there's no heat whatsoever. As soon as the sun goes down, it's like night and day. It's two different types of temperatures. But I'm here at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut my video, and because once I cut my video, I'll go inside. Like I said, I'm going to get some Brillo pads and shit. The wife asked me to pick her up some Pringles, so I'm going to get some Pringles, and I might see about a couple other things in there, some throwaway containers, and then I'm going to leave here, and I'll probably venture across the street, over there going towards Kroger's. I want to check out a couple things over there about picking up something. And other than that, I'll be going back to the house and probably talking to y'all some more. So y'all have a great day, and if I don't see you before I get back to the house, then I'll definitely make a video tonight. See ya.